Hey, podcast family, this is Jeff K with What Goes Across Time. Once again, welcome to a brand new week. And for this week, we have David Price, and he is a life coach. And he is very unique and awesome at what he does. And with that being the case, David, take it away.
Jeff, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be connected with you and get to know you. What you do is so interesting, and you have so many varied interests, and you're just an interesting dude, man. And I'm really happy to be connected. So I am a certified professional life coach, and I've got a couple of programs. I help men and women to achieve any goal that they desire. If they don't know what they want to do, I help them figure it out. If they know and don't know how to get there, I help them do that. And then I have a program specifically for husbands and fathers who want to stop taking their frustration out on their wives and their children. And so I've got a couple of programs. All of this has come out of my own experience, my own need of coaching, and the benefit that I've gotten from personal growth. And so that's kind of why I am where I am today.
Well, that is awesome. So you help people kind of find their niche or what they want to do. I find I could have used you. Well, let's say, I won't tell you how old I am. 10 years ago. Because I find, well, when you're 18 years old, you go off to college, and at 18 years old, you're like, well, what do you want to do with your life? I have no idea what I want to do with my life at the age of 18. Seriously? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Any case, I won't go into all my degrees because I have a lot of degrees, but I'm not doing anything close to what I spent getting my degrees in.
Yeah.
I mean, because what your passion was at 18,
yes,
that doesn't mean your passion is the same thing at
absolutely
59.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Jeff. And I'm 55, and I've been a minister, a Christian minister, for over 30 years. I've taught high school. I've coached sports. I'm life coaching. And, at 55, I still don't know exactly where I want to land. And that used to really concern me, but now I'm cool with that. There's nothing that says we have to know at 18 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 70 what we want to do in the next part of our lives. But we pressure people, and we make people feel like if you don't know what your major is going to be at age 18 and what you want to do for a living, you're some kind of a failure. So I love what you just said. We all need to get comfortable being cool with whatever comes at the next stage of life, just working on ourselves, continually growing, continually becoming better versions of ourselves, so that we're ready to pivot and move into whatever turns us on at the time. I love what you said there.
I mean, maybe after high school, maybe people aren't ready to jump into college. Maybe
I
you
wasn't.
Get that experience.
Yeah.
Test the waters.
Yes.
See what you want to do.
Yes.
One college, as we know, college is a huge expense.
Yes.
But there is certainly nothing wrong with testing out the waters before you want to get there. And granted, even if you test them out, that still might not be something you want to do. But at least you've weeded out stuff you don't want to do.
Well, you've weeded stuff out. You've gotten some valuable experience. I was not ready for college when I went. I did not complete a college program until I was 30 years old. And the only reason I did it then was because my wife and I just had our first child. I was a little nervous because preaching can be an unstable profession. And so I went and completed a college program. So you're exactly right. There's nothing wrong with testing things out, seeing what you like, and understanding that what you like today may not be what you're still like in 5 years from now. So be okay with that. We don't live in a world where people go and get a job at the factory and work for 25 years and retire. We don't live in that world anymore. And we've all got to become comfortable with that.
Well, and by no means am I bashing teachers.
No, not at all.
I admire the patience, your tenacity, and everything you do. It is nothing that I could do. That is way beyond out of my expertise. As a matter of fact, I've had teachers that shouldn't be teachers. When I was in high
Me
school,
too.
when I was in junior high school, I remember being in math class, and the teacher got so upset he threw a desk at somebody.
Good gracious.
Yeah. So, needless to say, maybe he should have tested out the waters, because that definitely wasn't the career for him.
He should have been a wrestler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, like everything else, things evolve.
Yeah.
Nature evolves, we evolve. So by no means are we the same person we were at the age of 18.
We should hope not.
This
If we
is true.
are, that's a problem.
This is true.
But yeah, Jeff, I mean, that's such a brilliant point that so many people miss. I mean, the idea that you can just figure out at 18 or 20 or whatever, this is what I want to be for the rest of my life. I mean, it's just not reasonable, especially today, Jeff, when there's so much knowledge available, there's so many ways that you can grow and change as a person that we didn't have before. There's so many things that you can learn about that you could never learn about before. I mean, being comfortable, being able to pivot is, boy, that's really important. I love what you're saying.
I mean, you touched on something before, whereas you don't get a pension anymore. People don't work for 25 years for the same company. If you're lucky, you might work for the same company for a year.
Yeah.
And being able to pivot is important. But one of the things that I find, and I could be way off base here, so if there's any teachers listening, please feel free to chime in or send me an email. But I find that in the public education system, they really teach us how to be an employee. They really don't focus on being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And again, Jeff, I'm like you. I have nothing but the highest regard for people who teach and I do some teaching, some high school teaching at a small Christian school.
God bless you. I never had the patience for it.
Yeah,
I feel sorry for my students.
Well, it's challenging, but I mean, even with what I do, it's not the challenge that a lot of teachers face in a lot of the situations they're in. So, God bless definitely those who are out there teaching. Nothing taking away from them at all. But I do believe, Jeff, that you're right. There's a lot of things that we're not teaching at home or in school, as far as a mindset, how to have a positive growth mindset. We don't teach, how to be creative and how to be flexible, how to set and achieve goals, how to decide what it is that you really want. We don't teach a lot of those things. And, and the debate could be also, well, is that the school's? But I don't know whose place it is. I don't know whose job it is. That's not my point. My point is that we all grew up without a basic set of tools that we need to create a life that we love, as far as mindset goes, goal achievement goes, those kinds of things. I agree with you completely. So now that we know that, those of us who realize it need to be helping younger people achieve those things.
And I'll tell you a quick story, and then I'll let you get back on what you were saying, which is so important. When I was in getting my bachelor's, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went and took one of those aptitude tests.
Mm-hmm.
To hopefully point me in a direction.
Yeah.
Well, back then, finished the aptitude test. Do you know what it told me to do?
I can't
Take a
imagine.
wild guess.
I cannot imagine. Tell me.
It told me to be a farmer.
A farmer.
Yes.
Well, now, I would never have guessed that.
Neither would I.
Wow. What on earth?
I have no idea. I don't know how the tests work. Hopefully they've improved from then to now.
Yeah, one would hope so, because I would imagine you've tried several things and farming is not one of them.
No. My closest to the outdoors is biking and hiking.
Well, I'll tell you that we took, and y'all may have done the same thing, but we took when I was in high school, the military, there's like the ASVAB, I think it's called. And I think what it tests is like your manual dexterity, your ability to work on things and fix things. And I have to tell you, Jeff, that their assessment of me was dead on. I don't ever need to pick up a tool or try to fix anything. I'm horrible at that stuff. And the military was like, we don't want anything to do with you. So, but you're right. I mean, sometimes we might take a test or an assessment, or there might be, Jeff, teachers or parents or other people who are in our lives who are trying to tell us what we need to do. You need to go to college. You need to do this or that. And listen, if it's not resonating, we don't need to listen. We need to listen to what resonates with us and the direction that we want to go right now. As long as it's moral, ethical, and legal, we need to be listening to ourselves.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. When I was a sophomore in college, my dad wanted me to become a computer science major. I hated it. Two, I completely sucked at it.
Yeah.
And I remember the phone call when I called my dad and told him I can't do this.
Yeah.
I was so upset about letting him down.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, and I'll bring you from past to present. I came up with my company, My Digital Memories, which we preserve memories, photos and things like that for next generation. I came up with that concept back in my 20s.
Wow.
I told my dad, this is what I want to do for a living. His response, sounds great. Go get a job.
Yeah.
Well, spent 20 years in corporate.
Mm-hmm.
Corporate and I had a hate relationship, and which was fine by me. And there's nothing wrong with working in corporate either.
Yeah, sure.
So,
sure.
And it wasn't until after my parents passed away that I decided to live my life.
Yeah.
And not theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we need to be careful about allowing other people to try to set our direction. And we need to be careful about doing that to other people. I mean, there are certain basic ground rules to life, certain things that people ought to do and not to do. But we have a great degree of freedom, and we should exercise that freedom and decide what it is that we want to do and allow other people to do the same thing and not try to tell people what to do. I love, there's a gentleman named Jay Shetty. He's a personal growth expert. He wrote a book called Think Like a Monk, and he was a monk for 3 years. And he tells the story about his own experience with his family. And he said, in his family, he grew up in a family from India. And he said, in my family, he said, we had 3 options. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, or you could be a failure. And a lot of people have those sorts of attitudes. If you're not a professional, if you're not this or that, then you're a failure. we need to be sure that we're exercising our freedom and allowing other people to do the same thing.
Great point. And because one of the other things that I found out when I was growing up is that even despite my degrees, my brother-in-law, who's now an ex-brother-in-law, was a doctor. My parents treated him differently than me because he was a doctor.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
They put him on such a pedestal.
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing doctors either.
No, not at all.
But I might be bashing my parents, but that's okay. They put him on such a pedestal that you would think he's Moses and could have parted the Red Sea.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny how we do that. We think that these certain types of jobs are a certain level of income, living in a certain neighborhood, that these things are the answer to all of our problems and they guarantee a happy life. And Jeff, you know as well as I do, they don't. I mean, there are lots of doctors, celebrities, wealthy people, famous people who are addicted to drugs. They try to commit suicide. If those things are the answer to happiness, why are there so many miserable people who are living those lives? We've got to understand that it's not about the external things. It's about the internal work that we do, the mindset work that we do, and about living a life that's happy from the inside, not depending on these other things because they just don't work. They don't bring happiness.
It's not about keeping up with the Joneses.
It isn't. It isn't. That's a terrible way to live. It's not about comparison, looking at other people. They're farther along than me. They have more likes, more followers, more subscribers than I do. They make more money than I do. You don't know anything about them. And Jeff, I always do a little exercise when I start comparing myself to other people who are doing better than me. First of all, I remind myself, I don't know how they're doing. They could be in debt up to their eyeballs. They could be miserable. They could be addicted to drugs. They could hate their spouse. But I always ask myself, would I trade my life for that person's life to have what they have? And Jeff, the answer every time is no. I would not trade my spouse, my children. I would not trade my life for Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, not one of them. So, we've got to really get to a place where we're grateful and appreciative for what we have, where we're working at becoming better and improving ourselves all the time, and just stop this thinking that the perfect life, the better life is out there somewhere with what somebody else has. It's just not.
Well, I'll ask you this question. What goes on behind closed doors?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is no one ever knows.
We don't know. We absolutely don't know. But we look at all of these people and so wish that, I wish I could be, Beyonce, or I wish I could be, Elon Musk or whoever, Tim McGraw or whoever it is. You don't know anything about those people, and you don't know anything about the lives that they live and the problems that they have. I have a business coach, and one of my business coach's business rules is everybody is full of BS. We'll just put it that way. Everybody's full of BS. The stuff that you see on Instagram and YouTube is not reality. It isn't that way. And we all need to stop wishing for that life, because really that life doesn't even exist.
Now, the question is, should I say this? I was divorced. My ex-wife was addicted to her soap operas.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
she came home one day wanting me to charter a private jet, fly to Italy for dinner.
Good gracious.
Now, given that this is a PG rated show, I won't give you my answer.
I can, knowing you even as well as I do, Jeff, I can imagine what it was.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can.
Wow.
But we digressed. You do so much important work with kids and dads as a life coach and redirecting them and helping people find their niche. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's really important that I tell people that the answer to that is that I teach and train what I did. I don't teach or train anything that I did not do and don't do. And so I know it works. And it's worked for the hundreds of students and clients that I've been blessed to be able to work with. So we teach 4 pillars of personal success. And the 4 pillars are, briefly, and whatever you want to drill down on, we can or not. But the 4 pillars of personal success are, number 1, taking 100% responsibility for your life and everything in it. As long as you believe you're a victim, you're helpless and hopeless, and everything that's wrong in your life is somebody else's fault, you are a prisoner to a miserable life. I know, because that's exactly where I was. And it's only when you take responsibility for your life and making changes and dealing with life as it is, only then can you possibly improve your life. And so we teach people to answer 4 questions. Who am I blaming? What are my excuses? What am I complaining about? And what am I waiting on? And what this does is help people to realize that they've really been not taking responsibility, and we help them begin to do that. The second pillar is to take control of your thoughts and words. Jeff, I believe that God made the universe by speaking it into existence. I believe that we're made in the image of God, and I believe that our words have power. And the Bible says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. And Jeff, you know as well as I do that people's thoughts create the world they live in. If your thoughts are negative, your world is going to be negative. If your thoughts are positive, then your life is going to be more positive.
The law of attraction.
Do what?
The law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Man, all right. So I have a kindred spirit here, right? So we talk about that all the time. Yes. So by your thoughts and words, you are attracting to yourself the kind of life that why is it that people who complain all the time constantly have problems? Because they complain all the time, and they're attracting into their lives these negative experiences. And so the third pillar of personal success is writing down your ideal life, reading it every day, and staying connected so it's in your mind all the time. And then the 4th pillar of personal success is initially setting one goal, just one goal that will be the biggest needle mover for your life as a whole. Is it your health? Is it money? Is it relationships? Whatever's going to have the biggest impact. And so we're going to set that goal and begin working toward it. And we teach about how to set a good goal, how to write it down, how to connect with it, how to create an action plan. So we take people in whichever program people get into that I have, we take them through that process, and it helps them to either figure out where they want to go, get where they want to go, or fix what's wrong that's keeping them stuck where they are.
Sounds like an amazing program. And one of the things that I can imagine is going from pillar to pillar. I'll say it's kind of like crawling before you can walk, because you're going to be making mistakes, falling down, and learning from those mistakes and continuing to grow.
Oh my goodness, man, you just said a mouthful right there, because you're exactly right. I just a few minutes ago was on the phone with a client, and he was making that exact point. He said the progress is slow. He's in my program for husbands and fathers. He said the progress is slow. He said, I feel weird. I feel uncomfortable. This is difficult. But and we were talking about the progress. His relationship with his wife is better. Relationship with his kids is better. So it's absolutely a challenge. It's absolutely a story of small steps, one after the other. It's a story of being uncomfortable with all of this new stuff that we're doing. I get people all the time who say, I just don't know. Am I writing my vision right? Am I setting my goals right? Am I creating my affirmations correctly? And so, yeah, Jeff, there's all kinds of discomfort around all this stuff that we're doing, right? But look, as long as you're not uncomfortable, you're not going anywhere. And I bet, Jeff, I bet you've done a million uncomfortable things in your life. You've gotten into stuff and you looked around and thought, man, what am I doing here? There's no way I can make this work. But as long as you're stuck in comfort, you're not going anywhere.
Anything is possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. But you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable.
One of the things I think of, and you can take any athlete that you want. I'll take example, Michael Jordan.
Yes, sir.
And people, when he hops on the court, you see his success.
Yes.
But what you don't see are the time, the hours, the mistakes.
Yeah.
Everything behind that.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, just the hard work it takes. I mean, Jeff, we live in this sort of Instagram social media world where it looks like some people are overnight successes. And I just don't believe there's any such thing, Jeff. People who burst onto the scene, and it's like all of a sudden they're like, oh man, that guy just came out. No, he didn't come out of nowhere. He's been working at what he's doing for a very long time. You never heard of him. And now he's finally getting some fruit from what he did. So there's the hard work of it. But then, as you said, Jeff, there's also the mistake aspect of it. There's a quote by Michael Jordan. I can't remember the numbers, but he talks about the number of times that he took the game-winning shot, and he hit a certain number of them, but he missed the vast majority of them. Nobody remembers those because of all of his success. But all of those mistakes, how many turnovers did he have? How many fouls did he commit? How many shots did he miss? And so this is what people are unwilling to do. Put in the hard work, make the mistakes to create the success. Everybody wants it overnight, and it doesn't happen that way.
Kind of reminds me of, well, before I did this back in 2012, I used to be a health coach, certified raw nutritionist. And
awesome. Wow, wonderful.
I got out of it.
Yeah.
You know why I got out of it?
I would love to know.
I got out of it because of what you just said. Diets are a lifestyle change.
Amen.
And people want instant gratification.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You cannot take a pill and expect to lose 30, 40, 50, or even 10 pounds for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
If you don't change your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. And that's why, in my program, we emphasize to a great degree habits, routines, and lifestyle, not tips, tricks, and hacks. Tips, tricks, and hacks, they have their place. But if people want to hack and tip their way to success in anything, Jeff, it's not going to work.
No.
Anything that you want to accomplish that's worthwhile must involve a lifestyle change. I don't care what it is. And you're right, it's very frustrating because a lot of people want something immediately and it's just not going to work.
Well, and there's something to go along with that. And it's also going to be painful.
Yes,
If it wasn't painful, everybody would do it.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And then, if everybody did it, then, nobody would be special. Nobody would be successful. We'd all be the same level of everything. And so it wouldn't matter anyway. But you're exactly right. The pain aspect of it, it's got to be there. And Jeff, I hear them. I know that you hear them all the time. We see commercials and ads for people who are claiming to, get you to whatever you want to get to. No pain, no waiting, overnight. And it's just not going to happen.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like follow the YouTube blueprint for getting 10,000 followers in 5 days.
Yes, exactly.
Not going to happen.
Exactly. And what people miss, I think, Jeff, is the benefit of that. When you have to work for something, it makes you a better person. When you have to wait and overcome obstacles, it makes you a better person. When progress is slow, you're ready for what success comes. And I was talking about this yesterday on a podcast. If I had started my coaching business and the next day I had 100 clients and $1 million, I would not have known what to do with that. There's a reason the system works the way it does. You get gradual success so that you can learn how to handle it and you grow with what you're doing. People could not handle overnight success. So we need to be grateful for the process, not resist the process.
So it almost sounds like from a banking perspective, compounding interest.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Absolutely. Right. You're not going to win the lottery, Jeff. I'm not going to win the lottery, right? But what can we do? Over time, we can put a little bit of money in, and what's going to happen? It's going to be growing, and we're going to, right? I can deny myself the expensive coffee now, put it in and get compound interest. I'm not going to win the lottery, but I can still have $1 million if I'm willing to put in the effort. That is a brilliant illustration. But what do a lot of people want to do, Jeff? Scratch off ticket, man. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah. From my perspective, I figured I have a better chance of being struck by lightning 3 or 4 times in a row than winning a lottery.
You absolutely do. Just as an aside, talk about weird. I have a friend whose grandfather, uncle, and he all got struck by lightning. Not at the same time, but over a period of many years, his grandfather, his uncle, and himself all got struck by lightning. My recommendation, Jeff, is that we stay away from those people. I don't want to be anywhere near those people at any time. Anyway, back to what you were saying.
Sounds like that gives the law of attraction a whole new meaning.
Yeah, that's the kind of attraction I don't want. Maybe you were talking about starting a new show, Jeff. Maybe you could have them on your show, because that's definitely weird.
Shocking.
Yeah, literally shocking.
So how do you work with dads to help them build a relationship with their kids and their spouse and things like that? How do you get people to be accountable?
Well, it's interesting, Jeff, and I bet this will not surprise you, because you know a lot about how the world works. In my marketing for my coaching for men, most of the responses that I get are from women, because the women understand how much the men need the help. The men are unwilling to reach out and get the help. And I bet that does not surprise you at all, Jeff, because you know how we men are, don't you?
Well,
We're stubborn.
that leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
How do you go from, if do you drag the guys there kicking and screaming?
No, sir. That does not, that does not work. No.
How do you get them there? If she's telling your husband, yeah, I want it. Yeah, yes, you need this, and this. And he's telling her, huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah. There's no reason for him to come in. I mean, and so I do Facebook Live videos every day. And in those videos, this is what I tell people. If you're not ready to start today, if you're not ready to pay the investment, if you have to talk to your wife, if you have to think about it, you're just not ready. Just don't even reach out. And this has been, and I bet, Jeff, you also dealt with this in coaching. People reach out to you, they know they need help. You tell them what you can do for them. You tell them how much it's going to cost. Almost invariably, I got to think about it. Let me get back to you. Got to talk to my wife or my husband. What happens most of the time? They decide not to do it.
Oh, you never hear from them again.
You never hear from them again. The reason is because they're not. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've seen that happen with my digital memories.
Yeah.
My wife has seen it happen with her travel business.
Yes. Yes. If people are not ready, it doesn't matter, because, and here's what happened with me, Jeff. When I was miserable for 3 decades. I hated my life. And I had a friend who repeatedly reached out to me. He could have helped me. He could have made all the difference. I was not ready. And I just turned him down. I just flat turned him down. So
I just lost you.
Oh, still don't have me?
There we go.
You got me?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. So what I was saying was, with my story, I had a friend who kept trying to help me. I didn't want the help, and it wouldn't do me no good. It wasn't until I was ready and I reached out to him that my life completely transformed. So there's no point in trying to talk people into it, drag them into it. Unfortunately, Jeff, and you know this, unfortunately, what has to happen most of the time is that a person has to hit rock bottom, they're desperate, and then they're ready to reach out for help. Unfortunately, very often, in some ways, it's too late. The marriage is over, the kids have quit speaking to them, their health is shot, they're broke, and in some ways, it's never too late to get better. It's never too late to improve as a human being. But it can be too late to save a marriage. It can be too late to establish a relationship with your kids. It can be too late to have your health back. And what the message that we need to try to get to people is, stop waiting until the situation is desperate. If you know you need help, get it now, right? With the business that you have. Don't wait until you have a house fire and all your pictures burn up. Right. Get your pictures to Jeff today and let him get that stuff for you.
Thank you for the plug.
Absolutely.
You remind me of another phrase. People change for one of two reasons. Either inspiration or desperation.
Absolutely.
So I guess people need to decide which side of the fence they're on.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, Jeff, as you know, 99% of the time, it's desperation. It's very seldom it's an inspiration. It's usually that people are so desperate they don't have any other choice, and now they have to reach out for help. But my lands, why do we want to get there? I do. I have done a lot of working with married couples who are having marriage trouble, and they reach out to a minister like myself to get help with their marriage. Very often, Jeff, by the time they're ready to reach out for help, it's too late. If they would have reached out sooner, I could have helped them. But by the time they reach out, the marriage is so far gone, nobody can save it. So people just really need to think carefully about their lives. And if they see something that needs fixing, do it before the situation gets desperate.
Funny, when I started business, I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on marketing, training. Nothing worked. And a while later, I was blaming the coaches and everybody else,
Oh, yeah.
but it wasn't them. It was me.
Oh, yeah.
It was me.
Yeah.
Because what I found difficult is even having all these degrees that I do, sometimes you need help.
Sure.
I mean, being an entrepreneur, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur and I have a lot of degrees, but I'm not an expert in accounting. I'm not an expert in marketing. I'm not, and the list goes on and on.
Absolutely.
I'm good at what I do,
Yes.
but there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking for help. It doesn't mean you're weak.
No, it means you're smart. And that's what we want to, we feel dumb when we reach out and ask for help. But, Tiger Woods has a golf coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. I mean, Tiger Woods is arguably the best golfer in history, and he's got a coach. Steph Curry has a coach. I'm sure that, Elon Musk and Warren Buffett, these people have advisors. So the smart people are asking for help. The smart people are realizing that you can never know everything. And, Jeff, another thing is that, and I know people hear people like me say this kind of thing and think, well, yeah, he wants my money. But I'm telling you that when I was trying to get all my help for free, I was stuck in a position of not being able to go forward like I should have. Yes, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. There's a lot of books you can borrow from the library. There's a lot of free content out there. But there is something about paying for help that makes it more effective. Over the years, I have spent over $40,000 of my own money just on coaches. They did not all give me everything they promised to give me, but every single dollar, Jeff, was well spent. Because when you become the kind of person who's willing to pay to get better, you are unstoppable.
Kind of like, and people are going to crucify me for this, but I'll clarify. This is in my opinion. I joined a lot of networking groups. At one point, I was doing 35 Zoom calls a week.
Good gracious.
But you know what I learned? I got more out of the people, out of the ones that you pay for.
Oh, yeah.
Than the free ones.
Always. Always. I'm curious. I have some ideas, but I'm curious about your thoughts. Why do you think that is?
I think, well, it's kind of like my business. When I digitize somebody's photos, I ask for 50% upfront.
Mm-hmm.
From my opinion, people need to be invested in their own success.
Yeah. 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 Totally agree.
If you pay for a networking group, you're going to attend that networking group because you're paying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir. That's right.
If you're paying for your program, you're going to attend it. You're paying. That's where
Absolutely.
your money's going.
Absolutely.
And if it's a free program, oh, I'll catch it next week. I'll catch it on Friday. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But if you're invested in it, you'll stick with it, or you have a better chance of sticking with it. I'll put it that way.
No question. I could not agree more that you're exactly right. You know, we say people who pay attention. I think that's right. When you put your money in it, you're going to be much more likely to be fully involved in whatever it is that you're doing. And so, you know, when coaches or whoever it is, people like you who have this wonderful business that you have, and I'm sure that it's not cheap to get you to do what you do. You don't want it to be cheap. Who wants to hire a cheap guy, you know, to digitize your family's memories? You know, you're not paying much, so you're probably not getting much. You're not getting a very trustworthy. You're not invested in it, Jeff, because you're cheap. The process is not going to be worth much because it's cheap, right? Who wants that? We want people that when people pay me a significant amount of money, it makes me work harder. That's just the way the world works. And so, yeah, people are scared to spend money, but as long as you're trying to get everything for free, you're not going to get very far. People just need to realize that.
Well, let's put it this way. Are they scared of spending the money, or are they scared of getting the results?
That's a good point.
My wife and I were in Berlin several years ago. I had to laugh. People around here, they and you touched on it briefly early on with status and driving Mercedes and BMWs and everything. Well, we got to Berlin. The first Mercedes I saw was a trash truck.
Right.
A trash truck, mind you.
Yep. Yep.
So a Mercedes to us is a Ford to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with either car.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I'm not saying one is better than the next.
Yeah.
They both have an engine. They both got 4 tires. They'll both take you from point A to point B.
Yeah. I love that. It's a great lesson. That's a great lesson to learn like that. I love that.
I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, when we got there to go sightseeing, there was scaffolding all over the place, and the whole place was under reconstruction. But
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my memory business. I'm glad to see it's being preserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. What a great lesson.
So do you just is the majority of your business just dealing with men, or do you also help women too? Does the same program work?
I do. Yeah, I've got 2 programs. It's the same basic structure. Obviously with the men, it's more directed to specific things with family and what have you. But yes, I have 2 programs. I work with men and women. In my original program, And then I have the other one where I only work with husbands and or fathers. Yeah. So I absolutely have a lot of experience working with both.
Now, well, it's funny. I have somebody coming up on a podcast in, I guess, a few weeks, who went from being a drug dealer, an alcoholic, to a life coach.
Wow. That's amazing.
So
I love
Yeah.
it. And what I love about that is the experience, and that's what, to me, not that life coaches who don't have that sort of story are ineffective. I don't mean that at all. But I just think it adds something to a coach or anybody who has had the experience of going through that stuff and then the transformation. The best basketball coaches play basketball, and I don't trust a basketball coach who didn't play basketball. So I really think that's valuable, and that's going to be an amazing conversation that you have, because he sees it, or he or she sees it from all sides. And I think that's really valuable.
Lost me.
Oh.
There.
Hmm.
Oh, well. I have no idea what's going on here.
Oh.
Just goes to show you, tech can be great, but it's not necessarily always going to work.
Could not agree more.
So I'm adaptable. What can I say?
Absolutely. Hey, that's what we started out with, Jeff. You got to be flexible.
Yep, got to be flexible. So with that being said, this has been awesome. How can people reach you?
Sure. So you can go to my website, which is www.takeback, the letters YL for Take Back Your Life, takebackyl.com. You can email me at david@davidpricecoachinggroup.com, or you can find me on Facebook. My name is David Price, and I am in Morehead City, North Carolina. I would love to connect with anybody and help out however I can. Jeff, it has been an absolute pleasure. I have loved this conversation. I love what you do. It's such an important work, because, Jeff, just very quickly, if I can, we had a house fire several years ago. We were burned out of our house. We were able to salvage one type of possession, and it was our family photos. That's the only thing we were able to save, was our family photos. And Jeff, I wouldn't have it any other way. And so, you can lose furniture, clothes, whatever. If you lose those family photos and memories, you're really going to be sad. What you do, Jeff, is important work. And I hope that people will take advantage of it. Thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. Changing lives is extremely important.
100%.
So I wish you much success.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
I'm Jeff Kay, founder of My Digital Memories. We preserve, protect, and organize your precious memories, which include your photographs, negatives, videotapes, home movies, records, and cassette tapes. These can be stored for today and future generations. After our parents died, my sister and I were cleaning out their home, and we came across boxes of photos that we wanted and our kids wanted. I knew I had to digitize all these paper photographs, slides, and negatives so they could be shared with family and friends. In My Digital Memories, we take your photos and most types of media and digitize them. We're able to restore photographs and remove unwanted scratches or blemishes. We also digitize home movies. We deliver the end product into any type of storage imaginable, whether it's on a USB thumb drive, a DVD, or storage in the cloud. We make it easier for you to share your digital memories with family and friends. Are you aware your family memories, paper photographs, and other media were only designed to last a maximum of 20 years in a climate-controlled environment? People care about their memories, genealogy, and where they come from. My client Sally gave me countless VHS tapes and had no idea of the treasure she was about to find. She heard her father's voice for the first time. Her father died in Vietnam and she never met him. She broke down in tears and was extremely grateful. Let's always remember our pets, our furry friends who are loyal to the end. Please contact me to preserve what is most valuable in your life for today and future generations. You are never forgotten with my digital memories.